Good night everyone, hope you're doing well. So recently I got an x220 and I love it. I've barely used it, it's been around like 2 days or 3 days since I've gotten it, but I love it. It's aesthetic, it's cool, I love it. I got the tablet version because it was cheap and I needed an excuse to buy another Thinkpad. These laptops are amazing, but this laptop had a problem. The problem was there was a Supervisor Password on the BIOS. So I actually didn't get to record how it looked like for me. So instead I'm going to be playing a video in front of what I'm talking about right now and what it kind of looked like while I was in the BIOS. I couldn't move around. I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't do the setup defaults. I couldn't press F9. It was really annoying. The seller didn't mention it, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt just to say that maybe they didn't know, because at least it booted to BIOS. That was my biggest concern. I've seen the videos on the x220 on how to remove the Supervisor Password, but I didn't see any for the tablet. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that just a little bit. It's pretty much the same, but there are a little differences. For example, taking apart the laptop is different, of course, because it's a different model. So what you're going to need for this is you're going to need your laptop, of course. You're going to need a pair of tweezers. And the tweezers, they have to be either really fine pointed or they can be as thick as mine, whichever you have or whichever ones you are accessible to. And you need a screwdriver to be able to open up the laptop. And if you also need a flathead screwdriver, that would be also great for you as well, but I don't think it's necessary. And last of all, you need a little bit of patience, because this may take a little trial and error, but you'll get it. If I could get it, you can do it. There is this plastic piece that holds down the cover for the RAM. So you want to unscrew that and take off the cover. Then you want to take out the 2 screws holding in the keyboard. There's one in the complete center between the RAM, and there's one in the top left corner if you're holding the laptop, if you have the battery facing towards the top. Oh, and I forgot to mention, make sure you take out the battery and you unplug your power supply, but do not put those away right now. We will need those later. Next, we want to take off the keyboard. So you want to open up the laptop and you want to slide the keyboard up and you want to take it out like that. But be careful, don't just yank it out. When you are picking it up, the keyboard, there is a ribbon cable. Just slightly pull it up. And next, we want to turn over the laptop again, and we want to unscrew the bottom half that holds in the bottom of the chassis where the mouse pad is. And next, we want to open it back up and take off the mouse pad. And there is this like weird cable. What you want to do is lift up. There's like a black tab that you have to lift up, and the blue cable should just come right out. It shouldn't take any effort or any force at all. It should just be lightly pulled out. Next, we want to take off the top part of the inner chassis. And yet again, just please forgive me on the terms. I'm not extremely technical with this sort of stuff. So there are 2 screws in the center, and there is 1 screw hiding underneath the Wi-Fi antenna cables. So you're gonna have to unplug the Wi-Fi card, and I believe the other one is the sound card. And be sure to take a picture of these so you don't mess it up when you have to put these back together. Unplug them, they should be pretty easy to take out. You wanna undress the cable and take it out, and there should be a screw right at the top underneath those cables. It should be near the top. Next, you want to use some force to take off this chassis. It should just come right off. It shouldn't take as much force. And one tip I have for you is to flip the screen sideways so you can easily take it out and not have to worry about the bumps and grooves on the tablet on the chassis getting onto the tablets, and it should come right off. Next, we want to locate the BIOS chip. And luckily for you, I've already located it for you. So it is just like where it is on the x220. It is near the CPU. I will have a picture for you, and I will try and do my best to exemplify where exactly it is, and you want to locate it. So for me, I had this black plastic tape over it, so I took off a little bit, and to keep it from falling down, I decided to put another piece of just regular office tape. And on screen right now, I will be showing where the BIOS chip is located and what 2 dots we will have to focus on. And again, this requires a bit of precision, but if you don't think you have very stable hands, it is recommended to, have someone else do it, or ask a family member or friend. You want to be careful while doing this because you don't want to knock your tweezers into anything else. And lastly, we want to connect the keyboard back because that's the only way to power on the laptop. And at this point, you also want to put back on the battery, and you want to put on the power cable. And now we're pretty much ready. So we can get started on shortening the BIOS chip. So there are 2 dots that we want to press down on so that we can remove the supervision password. I'm not extremely technical and know exactly what's going on when you do this, but you want to hold down on those 2 dots with your tweezers, and you want to keep it on there until you are into the BIOS. So again, to get to the BIOS, you want to first power on the computer, then you want to hold down the enter key. It will beep a little bit, but then you want to press either escape and then F1, and for some people it's a bit different. For me, it was escape and then F1 to the BIOS. And while you are doing this, you want to be holding down on those 2 points. And to shorten it, it kind of means to hold it down slightly on it. Do not push with all your might. Instead, just hold it down. Don't force it or anything. Just hold it down slightly. So first you want to put your tweezers and position them in those 2 points. And you want to hold those tweezers there, and you want to power on the computer and go to the BIOS by holding enter, pressing escape, and then F1. Just follow your instructions on what it's telling you to do on your computer, and you should be taken to the BIOS. And to know if this works, the easiest way to check if it worked is to go to the security tab. I believe it's the security tab, and the passwords, and you should be able to freely move around, and you should be able to disable the supervisor password. And just to answer a few questions, you want to hold your tweezers on those 2 points until you see the BIOS screen. Do not take it off early, because I made that mistake and it didn't go as planned. Again, try and be precise, and I even recommend taking breaks in between. That's what I did. I would try it, and then I would get up for around a minute, and then I try it again. This may take a little bit of time, just be patient. You don't want to mess up your computer. So I want to explain now what you want to do when you are able to freely move around the BIOS and disable the supervisor password. So again, when you get to the security tab and you are able to freely move around in the password screen, you want to disable the password, whatever it is. I will show you on screen how it should look like. And I want to show you what mistake to not make that I did the first time. So what you want to do next is you want to save changes and exit. And after that, you want to hold enter and go to the BIOS again. Because what I did was I went straight to the regular boot process, and I didn't have a loadable disk or anything, so it didn't really work as intended. I had to do it again, and it took me a couple more times. So make sure when you are done with this process, you leave the BIOS by saving and changing, and you go back to the BIOS right after it. So if you can freely move around the BIOS page and you can see that there is no supervisor password and it says that it's disabled, congratulations, you have reset your BIOS and you do not need a supervisor password anymore. You are free to do what you'd like with the BIOS. For example, for me, what I wanted to do was actually update my BIOS, but I wasn't able to because I had a supervisor password. And if everything is smooth, you can disconnect your laptop, remove the battery, and put the laptop back together. Again, be careful, don't mess up anything at this point because it probably took a little bit of work to get this done. And again, remember, there is a screw underneath the Wi-Fi antenna cables, so make sure you put that screw in because I notice a lot of people tend to forget that screw and have to take off the Wi-Fi antenna cables again. So make sure you do that first. Otherwise, you're good to go. You can continue with what you wanted to do, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if you have any concerns or something like that, just let me know in the comments as well. Leave a like on this video if it helped you. And that's pretty much it. Have a good night, guys.